Hello and welcome, Exiles, to another League Start test, this time with Chieftain Righteous Fire, another underappreciated ascendancy that, after playing with it and thinking about it, I honestly think Chieftain could be my top pick for a Righteous Fire League Start, and I'll break that down. But to start things off with, we did Eater and Exarch, we have the Void Stones for them, and we did it in 9 hours and 15 minutes. It says 9:36 now. I stayed AFK. I was chatting with Twitch last night, so obviously that added time. You can check the VOD if you're really curious, but it was 9:15, which is a personal best for me. Felt really cool to do Exarch and Eater in that time. And then on top of that, I still died a few times. I died about 3 times before I got my ascendancy, basically, on that early game Marauder. I was still trying to figure things out. I got like freeze locked, stun locked a couple times, but overall, 8 times going all the way up through T16s, just running whatever map I could. I'm quite happy with this amount of deaths, especially with my playstyle of being not great at the game and just jumping into dangerous packs very aggressively and also stupidly. But outside of that, the character is a Chieftain, 4,600 life. We have 14k armor with what we end up getting 4 endurance charges, along with 20% fizz taken as. This is without a Granite Flask. If we had a Granite Flask, if we had percent armor, we probably would get that closer to 25k or something. I'm not sure exactly, but my mitigation is decent. And I also have Fizz Reduction on my chest, which is just like, it's still not even a good roll chest. It's literally just 5% Fizz Reduction, but it is what it is. Anyways, this character, all in all, I'm quite happy with it. It felt very good to run up through the tiers. Now, why do I think Chieftain on a League Start, and what do I think its potential is? Well, to start things off with, Tassilio on a League Start, especially with the Fire Res Regen Mastery, this thing, normally, the 100 Fire Res feels like kind of redundant on RF build, because you're already getting Fire Res from like Purity of Fire, you're already getting a lot of free extra res. This is usually overkill and doesn't help you in any way. Thanks to the Regen Mastery, this is now basically 100 flat regen, along with 20% Fizz taken as, along with 20 recovery rate, along with Immune to Ignite. This note's juiced, it feels amazing, and I think it opens you up to an ability to drop Determination entirely. Now, Determination is an aura I think you should pretty much be running in most RF Ascendancies. It just synergizes well with a lot of the nodes you want to pick up anyways, with Life and with Max Rise and stuff. But ultimately, if you can drop it, you can pick up another damage aura, something like Skitterbot, something like Malevolence, and fit that into the build to deal more single target, and that's an advantage you're going to have over other Ascendancies. Why do I say this? I think you could very easily go for Dawnbreaker Shield, so that's 20% Fizz taken as, you have 20% from the item here. You could go for a Cloak of Flame with plus levels and then do like 15% Life Mastery, or you could simply go for just a Gravicious Fizz taken as on your helmet, maybe a Watcher's Eye with some Fizz taken as. All of a sudden, you're getting a 70-80% Fizz taken as. You have some endurance charges in your build. Really, you're mitigating the Fizz quite highly, more than most armor-based characters, especially when considering a high Fizz hit. Something like an Uber Shaper Slam, you're going to do a lot better with 80% Fizz taken as than a character who has 100k armor. I'm pretty sure. I could have the math wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Anyways, point is, I think this allows you to drop something like Determination, drop Defiance Banner, and you have more aura space to go for more single target. On top of that, the rest of the Ascendancy mostly has damage nodes. For example, this gives you a way to generate endurance charges, get some regen. That feels good. But if you want to, you can opt to have an Immortal Call or something in your build, something to proc to get 15% more damage for single target. So it has a multi-function. I think it works great for mapping. And then if you want to do single target, you could pop an Immortal Call. I might even consider doing like a low-level cast and damage taken setup with Immortal Call, just to constantly have that 15% more damage. And it's a solid node. It's not great, it's not OP, but it's better than some of your alternatives. On top of that, Ramikos, again, this is another 10 to 15% more damage. It's kind of lackluster in damage, but it is more and is better than nothing. And on top of that, that Ignite chance, I think Ignite chance is key when doing a Chain Explode RF build. It helps you get to 100% Ignite faster than you would otherwise, and that's a nice little value on top of what you're already getting on the Ascendancy. All in all, probably the weakest node is Ramikos. Maybe if we get Ascendancy reworks, this could see some love, and maybe we'd get more boost in the Chieftain Ascendancy, because right now Chieftain isn't very popular. Chieftain's pretty unloved. I think there's a good chance Chieftain gets some buffs. We'll see. And then on top of all that, Hinakora's gives you the option to go Recover an Ash, and then go Enduring Cry instead of the Infernal Cry, which gives you a like 10% damage taken extra instead of 20% of the Ash you get from Hinakora's Death's Fury. On top of that, 10% strength. I think this would allow Chieftain to go for a Blunderbore approach on a League Start. Blunderbore is pretty cheap unloved chest piece, which gives you about 40% life, about 40% damage, 40% AoE, and on top of that, it doesn't actually have a life modifier. So you could go 15% life on top of that. It would pair awesomely with the life mastery, and I could see myself even going for like the 10% more life mastery and consider working towards a essentially like 10k life build like 4 days into the league. I think that's possible. I think that's achievable, and I'm tempted to do it. So that's kind of my thought process behind Chieftain. All in all, I was quite happy with how it pushed through the campaign. It did pretty well, I thought, and I didn't have any issues at any point. I didn't have particularly good RNG. I got pretty bad gear for the most part. If you look through my gear, I'll have it in POB. You can check for yourself. But all in all, I'm quite happy with the result, and I'm going to continue to push to try to get better at League Star leveling and testing and stuff. And that way I'll have a good build to recommend to you when we actually get the patch notes and we know what the changes are going into next week. But for now, I'll give you guys a little showcase on a tropical island with unique monster damage, reduced aura effect, and pale, and we'll see how this goes. Yeah. All in all, I've been enjoying these League Star tests more than I thought I would, and I'm also appreciating the fact I'm getting better at doing these things. Normally, myself, I'm not a particularly fast player. My previous history is doing Exarch Eater by like day 3, which I think is usually like, for me, that's 20 hours to 30 hours of gameplay deep by the time I get to Eater and Exarch. So doing it in under 10 is a massive change, and I'm surprised how much, if I change my mentality and have focused a little bit more on just always moving, always pushing forward in content, how much of a difference that made. Because I think I'd get caught in the weeds, basically doing one thing this, one thing that, and waste a bunch of time. And now that I'm like mentally kind of trying to tackle it a little bit, that's really been the biggest change for me in going faster, especially going for the Atlas strategy, which I'm doing right now, which is essentially going to Wandering Path, 100% chance to drop connected map, and using that early sustain to just shoot straight up in the Atlas, straight up to T16s, and not waste too much time getting stuck in certain tiers of map and full clearing the Atlas all the way through, but actually just going straight to the top. And then essentially I'm going to try to make other maps T16s via the stones, and then clear my way back down as I get more of the void stones to push maps up to the T16 range. I think I've never tried this strategy before, which is pushing red maps super early, but I think it's a pretty high currency per hour strategy. So I'm looking forward to next League Star trying to do exactly that. Push the high tiers as fast as possible, get to the red altar farming as fast as possible, get to dropping bases that are valuable for sale, and see how that does on a League Star for making money early on. And we'll see how it goes. I think it could go well, don't know for sure, but that's what currently I'm thinking about trying to do. Anyways, that's just me thinking about League Star stuff. This is so far my favorite League Star test I've done, this Chieftain here, and I look forward to, I think next, people were telling me not to do it, which made me want to do it more. I think next I'm maybe going to try out a Pyroclast Mind. If you're wondering, I said I was going to do Armageddon Brand last video. I did do Armageddon Brand. I did it in like 11 hours. The way I built the character I wasn't particularly happy with, and I just got domed the second I pressed Val Righteous Fire. That is a danger to pressing Val Righteous Fire, and I'm an addict. This is probably most of my deaths, honestly, was doing this. Is essentially, you're fighting a dangerous enemy. He's a unique boss that has increased damage, has speed. You have reduced aura effect, so my determination isn't as good. He's a fizz-based boss, and I think, you know what? While he's swinging at me, let me press Val Righteous Fire and just eat up 60% of my life pool right here. That's a good idea. I don't know how these monsters are here right now. I thought I cleared everything to start out with, but I guess I didn't. Really stupid on my end to not be a little bit more cautious with that, but I can't help myself. Once I get Val Righteous Fire, I can't help but just press it all the time, just constantly, whenever it goes up. I like the extra AoE. For the most part, I don't get punished by it, because normally enemies don't hit me right when I press it, but also, a lot of times, I usually press it a little bit more intelligently than right when the monkey's swinging at me with the increased damage mod, so it wasn't too smart there, but it happens. Alright, let's get back over to him. Put a portal down in case he domes us again. He does have damage. He is a physical boss. I should be a little bit scared of him. I'm pressing Valorous Fire again. I can't help myself. Alright. We're fine. See, that wasn't too bad. Anyways. That's the Chieftain Righteous Fire League start. Again, this is not particularly good gear. This is just all SSF farm gear. My current weapon has 40% damage, and I bench crafted Cold and Chaos Res. It's not anywhere near what I would call ideal. We're still level 82. Obviously, this is low damage for T16s, but what would you expect with having just absolutely garbage gear and a 5-link and gems that aren't even leveled? Level 19 Fire Trap, level 19 Righteous Fire, level 19 gems, no quality. All this sort of stuff adds up. And there's a reason we're low damage, but it's enough damage to do the content. And as we start to farm the gear, sell our gear, or sell like high tier bases, maps, whatever it is, farm up currency and get more basically upgrades to the build, I think this could really ramp into a pretty feels good basically setup. Excuse me. I will of course be waiting for league start patch notes before I make any decisions on what league starts I'm going to promote per se. Like I'll make guides for things I think work well with the patch notes, but we're gonna have to wait and see what those are. Looking forward to ExileCon. I will be streaming it Friday and Saturday. Come around and check it out if you want to get my opinion on the new changes they're doing. We'll see how it goes. As always, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Take care and peace out.